Welcome to the game of spoons, equivalent fractions. So in order to get started, you're going to deal each player 4 cards. You can play with up to 4 players. So you can see there Miss Adams has 4 cards and Miss Clemens has 4 cards. And then the other cards are in a stack there. And then you'll put however many players there are, you need one less spoon than that. So there are two, we're playing with just 2 players, so we have 1 spoon. If you're playing with 4 players, you'll need 3 spoons and so on. This is your score sheet. You won't write anything on the front until a round is complete and you have a winner for that round. So I'll show you how to do that in just a second. And then this is where you keep up with your spoon's letters. So we're playing with 2 players, so I'll write our names here. And then every time one of us gets a letter, I'll record it there. So if you're playing with 4 people, then you'll have all 4 names here. If you're playing with 3 people, then you'll put your 3 names here and you just won't use that last blank. So that's how the score sheet works. Now, we both have 4 cards. Let's just turn all of our cards over and play cards up. We're going to show you the game with our cards up. When you actually play, you don't want your opponents to see your cards, but for the purpose of showing you how to play, we're going to let you see our cards. So when I look at my cards, if I'm going first, I'm trying to make a set of 4 equivalent fractions. Now I get to draw a card from the pile, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I drew 10/30ths, and I'm trying to see if any of my cards are equivalent. So what I'm going to need to do is simplify. So 10/30ths will be the same as a 1/3. 3/8 is simplified. 36/96. I might have to do some work on that one. So 36/96, I know that 6 will go into both of those. That'll be a lovely sound on the video. 6 will go into 36 6 times, and 6 will go into 96 16 times, and that can still be simplified. 2 goes into 6 3 times, and 2 goes into 6 8 times, and that's good news for me because that means 3/8 and 36/96 are equivalent. 49/56. Well, 7 will go into both of those. 7 will go into 49 7 times, and 7 will go into 56 8 times. So that one's 7/8. And then I have 21/28, and 7 will go into both of those. 7 will go into 21 3 times, and 7 will go into 28 4 times. So that's equal to 3/4. So it looks like my best bet right now are my 2 cards that equal 3/8. So I want to keep those 2, and then I'm going to discard any one of those 3. Now, when I discard it, I'm going to send it over to my opponent. So I'll put it over to the next person, and now she'll get to look at that card and decide if that's one that she wants to keep or if she wants to discard it.
Okay. So she just gave me her 21/28, which she had figured out was 3/4. Then I have 9/12. Well, 3 goes into 9 and 12. So 3 goes into 9 3 times, and 3 goes into 12 4 times. Ooh, look at that. Those are equal.
Nice job.
And then look at this. We have our already simplified 3/4. So I'm looking pretty good right now. I have 3 of the same equivalent fractions right here. Okay, then we have 15/60. Well, 5 will go into both of those. Let's do that first. 5 goes into 15 3 times, and 5 goes into 60 12 times. That can be simplified some more. 3 goes into 3 1 time, 3 goes into 12 4 times. Well, that doesn't match this, but it does match my fraction over here. So now I have to make a decision. Do I want to keep my 3/4 or my 1/4? And since I already have 3 3/4, I'm going to go ahead and discard one of my 1/4. So once you discard, just make another stack next to the other stack, and then the next player gets to draw again.
Okay, so now it's my turn. Okay, now do I have to take this one?
No, you take a new one.
All right, so now I'm going to take one from the discard pile, and I'll put it with my cards. Now I already know that these 2 equal 3/8, so now I want to look at these cards, and we'd already determined that 10/30ths is equal to 1/3. 49/56, we said 7 goes into 49 7 times, 7 goes into 56 8 times, and now I've got 30/75ths. We'll start with 5. I know that 5 goes into 36 times, and 5 goes into 75 15 times. 3 goes into both of those. So 3 goes into 6 2 times, 3 goes into 15 5 times, so that one's equal to 2/5. So I have my 2 cards over here that both equal 3/8. Nothing in my other 3 cards equals 3/8. So it really doesn't matter what I get rid of. Now, keep in mind that in a real game, I wouldn't know what Miss Adams has, so I don't know whether I'm handing her something that she can use or not. So I'm just going to pick one of my cards. I'll take this 30/75, and I'm going to pass it Miss Adams' direction.
Okay. Now in this case, I know what I need. I know I need a 3/4. Since I know that this is 2/5 based on what Mrs. Clemens just did, I don't need it. So I go ahead and put it in my trash pile over here. And then it becomes Mrs. Clemens' turn again.
Okay, so now I will draw a card from the pile. And I got 2/5. That can't be simplified. And now, again, I know that none of my cards goes with my 3/8. So I'm going to pass a card off to Miss Adams.
Okay, now this is 7/8, and I don't need that. So once again, I put in trash.
Okay, back to Miss Clemens. And I got my score sheet. 12/36. Well, I know that 6 goes into both of those. 6 goes into 12 twice, and 6 goes into 36 6 times, and that can be simplified. 2 goes into itself once, and 2 goes into 6 3 times, so that's a third. Now, I'm going to go ahead and keep that one because I also have another card that equals a third, so now that gives me 2 directions that I can head, and I'm going to discard the 2/5 to Miss Adams.
Okay, and since I know I don't need a 2/5, I'm going to go ahead and discard it and hope that Mrs. Clemens doesn't get a card that will match hers.
Okay, so now I'm drawing a card, and I got 5/15,
Uh-oh.
which can be simplified. 5 goes into itself once, and 5 goes into 15 3 times. Okay, so now I'm going to change directions. I now have 3 cards that equal 1/3. So I'm going to come back over here to my cards that equal 3/8, and I'm going to get rid of one of those.
Okay, and I don't need 3/8, so I'm going to discard that and cross my fingers that she doesn't get a third.
Okay, so now I'm going to turn over the next card. And
Oh,
looky
no.
there. Now keep in mind, Miss Adams would not be seeing what I have in my hand. So when I draw that card, I now know that I have a set of 4. As soon as I know that I have a set of 4 matching cards, I'm going to reach for the spoon. Now, if there were more than 2 of us, then as soon as other players see somebody reach for a spoon, they will also reach into the middle and try to grab a spoon. And remember, you're going to have 1 less spoon than you have players. So whoever ends up spoonless loses that round. So here's what it would look like on your score sheet. Okay, so first I need to write down, this was round 1. And my fraction set included 10/30ths, 12/36, 5/15ths, and 1/3. Those are my 4 equivalent fractions. Those all equal 1/3. And then we will come over here. And we already have our names written. And so I got a spoon that time. Miss Adams did not get a spoon, so she now has an S. And then we would play round 2. And you keep playing until someone spells out the word spoons. And when someone spells out the word spoons, that person's now out and then correct. Then you would just continue with the other players until there's just 1 person left standing.
If there's only 2 of y'all playing, y'all just keep playing back and forth. So you just start a new round.
Okay, so that is how you play spoons. Have fun.